Are you concerned that facial sagging and visible lines seem to progress as the years pass? Today, we will uncover the role of unflavored gelatin and explain how it can be used properly to support firmer-looking skin, improved elasticity, and a less pronounced appearance of facial lines. Unflavored gelatin may serve as a useful addition to a skincare routine. However, many individuals use it incorrectly, which is why they often fail to notice meaningful changes. Most people purchase gelatin with positive intentions, but do not fully understand how the body processes it. Consider the case of Marta. Her experience reflects a situation that occurs more often than many realize. For several months, Marta consumed flavored gelatin every evening. She believed this daily habit would improve the appearance of her skin. With consistency, she prepared the dessert, chilled it, and ate it before bedtime, convinced she was nourishing her skin from within. Yet week after week, and eventually month after month, she noticed no significant difference. Her skin did not appear firmer. Sagging remained. Texture showed no obvious improvement. What makes this story noteworthy is that her lack of results was not caused by poor discipline, inconsistency, or insufficient time. The real issue was much simpler and is rarely explained clearly. The problem involved the specific gelatin she selected and the way the body actually handles it after consumption. One important concept must be understood. Not every gelatin product is the same. Although many gelatin products appear similar on store shelves, flavored gelatin desserts typically contain substantial amounts of sugar, artificial flavoring agents, coloring substances, and other additives that do not contribute to the objective of supporting skin structure. In addition, the amount of usable protein is relatively limited when compared with what the body requires for structural functions associated with collagen maintenance. As a result, a person may think they are consuming gelatin for skin support when, in reality, they are primarily eating a sweet dessert rather than obtaining targeted nutritional assistance. If insulin resistance, persistent inflammation, or an imbalanced dietary pattern is also present, such products may even work against the desired objective. For that reason, it is essential to distinguish between dessert gelatin and unflavored gelatin. What is generally needed in these situations is unflavored gelatin, sometimes referred to as grenadine. It contains the same animal-derived protein foundation, but without sugar, coloring agents, flavor additives, or other elements that may interfere with its intended purpose. This version is more concentrated, more refined, and better suited when the goal involves supporting internal tissue-related processes, including those connected with the skin. Unflavored gelatin is commonly available in supermarkets, baking supply shops, bakeries, local markets, and in some regions, even pharmacies. It is neither rare nor difficult to obtain. The true obstacle is not availability. It is knowing which product is appropriate. An even more important point follows. Success does not depend solely on selecting the correct gelatin. It also depends on understanding how the body uses it. Many people assume gelatin functions as ready-made collagen. In reality, that is not what happens. Gelatin is an incomplete protein. After entering the digestive tract, it is broken down into smaller components known as amino acids. Among the most prominent are glycine, proline, and hydroxyproline. These amino acids do not instantly become collagen in the skin. Instead, they enter a more complex biological pathway in which the body determines where they are needed most. This is the critical detail. Unless that process receives appropriate support, the body may not fully utilize the structural potential of those amino acids. That is why the manner of consumption matters so much. The objective is not merely to ingest gelatin. The objective is to create favorable conditions that allow the body to use those amino acids efficiently in producing its own collagen. When gelatin is consumed improperly or without the necessary supporting factors, efficiency decreases. Much of the potential value may be redirected toward other bodily functions or lost during the digestive process, rather than contributing to visible skin-related outcomes. Consider the experience of Dona Elena, a 72-year-old woman living in Monterrey. Like many others, she had adopted what appeared to be a sensible routine. For years, she consumed gelatin nearly every day, believing that this small habit would gradually help preserve the condition of her skin. However, one important detail had escaped her attention. She always prepared gelatin as a conventional dessert. She selected sweetened versions containing flavor additives and followed the traditional preparation method without making any modifications. For her, it was simply a pleasant sweet treat after lunch or before bedtime. Over time, the outcome matched expectations, but not the expectations she hoped for. Her skin continued to lose firmness. Sagging gradually progressed, and facial lines became increasingly noticeable. Most importantly, she believed she was taking a positive step, when in reality, her routine was not optimized for the goal she wanted to achieve. The turning point arrived when her granddaughter shared information that offered a different perspective. She explained that effectiveness depended not only on consuming gelatin, but also on understanding which type was being used and how it should be incorporated appropriately into a broader nutritional strategy. From that point forward, Donna Elena made a simple yet important adjustment. She stopped choosing dessert gelatin and switched to unflavored gelatin. She removed the added sugar, avoided unnecessary ingredients, and changed the preparation method so it fit more effectively into her daily habits. She also began integrating it more thoughtfully into her overall diet instead of viewing it as a standalone solution. Nothing complicated was involved. There were no expensive products and no drastic lifestyle changes. The difference was simply a change in approach. After several weeks, she began noticing subtle changes. The improvement was not dramatic and did not occur overnight. Nevertheless, she could perceive a difference. Her skin felt smoother rather than rough. Texture seemed more supple, and she experienced a greater sensation of internal hydration. Perhaps the most remarkable aspect was that she did not increase her spending. She was purchasing something very similar to before, but she was now using it in a more purposeful manner. Before discussing any specific method, it is important to understand the reason behind it. This is where many people become confused and eventually follow routines without observing visible improvements. Gelatin contains amino acids such as glycine and proline. The body may use these compounds in tissue maintenance processes involving the skin, tendons, and other connective structures that naturally become weaker with advancing age. The amino acids found in gelatin are not miraculous substances. However, they serve as fundamental components the body relies on to maintain and restore various internal tissues. There is another critical detail that is rarely explained clearly enough. For the body to make better use of these amino acids and mechanisms associated with collagen production and preservation, an essential partner is required. That partner is vitamin C. When vitamin C is lacking, collagen formation cannot operate at its highest efficiency. This nutrient participates directly in the biochemical processes responsible for organizing and stabilizing collagen fibers as they develop. Simply put, possessing the raw materials is not enough. The amino acids may be available, but the construction process must also function properly. Imagine having all the bricks needed for a building while lacking the cement, the equipment, and the worker required to assemble the structure. Everything is present, yet the final result cannot be created effectively. This concept deserves careful attention because skin health is not determined by a single nutrient or one isolated food source. It depends on a complex biological network that continuously renews itself. Collagen, for instance, is not permanent. The body constantly breaks it down and produces it again. That ongoing equilibrium plays a major role in determining firmness, flexibility, and resilience of the skin. As aging progresses, changes occur gradually rather than all at once. Several factors contribute to this shift, including the natural decline of collagen generation, reduced connective tissue quality, exposure to sunlight, accumulated oxidative stress, and everyday dietary habits. Over time, the skin may become thinner, lose elasticity, and develop a greater tendency towards sagging or more visible lines. The reduction in firmness associated with aging is not merely a cosmetic concern. It reflects deeper structural changes occurring within connective tissues. This is where confusion often arises. Many individuals focus exclusively on creams or surface-level treatments, while overlooking the fact that a significant portion of the process takes place internally. Now we move to the full protocol. It should not be viewed as a quick formula or a simple trick. Instead, think of it as an organized system built around a logical sequence where every action serves a specific purpose. This distinction separates those who follow instructions mechanically from those who apply them consistently with understanding. The first stage involves choosing the correct product. You must accurately identify the gelatin you intend to use because this decision influences everything that follows. Select unflavored gelatin or pure gelatin. Avoid any version containing sugar, coloring agents, flavor enhancers, or other additives. This is not a minor preference. It directly affects both the quality and intended function of the product. Once sugar or flavorings are added, the product shifts away from being a functional ingredient designed to support structural tissues, and becomes primarily a recreational food focused on taste. The simpler and cleaner the ingredient, the more certainty you have regarding what enters your body. This becomes especially important when the goal involves supporting internal maintenance, repair, and renewal processes affecting the skin, tendons, and connective tissues. The next stage is proper hydration. Many people dismiss this step because it appears insignificant, yet it can directly affect how the body handles the product afterward. Gelatin should not be poured straight into hot beverages. Excessive heat may alter its original characteristics, interfere with even hydration, and influence how it behaves when combined with other foods. The recommended method is to place approximately 1 tablespoon, between 10 and 15 grams, into a glass of cold water. Allow it to sit for several minutes. During that time, it absorbs the liquid completely and develops a smooth gel-like consistency. This preparation stage is not merely cosmetic. It serves a practical purpose by allowing the gelatin to become activated before consumption or before being mixed with other beverages. After proper hydration, it can be incorporated into coffee, tea, broths, or smoothies with ease. At that point, its texture is already stable, uniform, and easier to blend without affecting the primary drink. The following stage concerns timing. Many individuals prefer taking gelatin in the morning before eating because the digestive system is relatively free from competing influences and may process nutrients more efficiently. However, this should not be considered an absolute requirement. If consuming it on an empty stomach causes discomfort, heaviness, or simply conflicts with your schedule, it may be taken before a light meal. It can also be adjusted to different daily routines according to personal preference. The factor that truly matters is not the specific hour. Consistency over time carries far greater importance in relation to skin and connective tissue support. Regular practice outweighs any isolated timing strategy. Another crucial component is vitamin C. This is among the most important elements of the entire protocol, yet it is frequently overlooked or misunderstood. Vitamin C may be obtained from foods such as oranges, kiwi, strawberries, and lemon. It may also come from a supplement when greater convenience or more controlled daily intake is desired. Its function is not secondary. Vitamin C acts as a necessary participant in several biochemical reactions that help collagen fibers become stabilized, organized, and reinforced within connective tissues. Without sufficient vitamin C, efficiency declines even when every other part of the protocol is followed correctly. For that reason, it should not be regarded as optional. It represents a structural element of the system and holds importance equal to gelatin itself within the overall approach. The next consideration is quantity. For most individuals, a daily intake ranging from 10 to 15 grams is generally adequate. This amount corresponds approximately to 1 properly measured tablespoon. At this point, it is important to challenge a common misconception. Increasing the amount does not automatically speed up the outcome. The human body does not operate according to a simple formula where more input always creates more benefit. These processes are governed by physiological limits, absorption capabilities, metabolism, and the actual requirements of the body. As a result, a steady, moderate, and consistent intake is usually more effective than attempting to double or triple the quantity without a justified reason. Within this type of strategy, accuracy is more valuable than excess. The final stage is continuity. More than any other factor, this one determines the eventual outcome. Skin does not change instantly. The internal structures responsible for its condition renew themselves through cycles that are gradual, cumulative, and inherently slow. Collagen and connective tissues are not restored within a few days. Their renewal occurs gradually through weeks of repeated nutritional input delivered with consistency. This is the stage where many individuals fall short. They begin with enthusiasm, yet stop too soon because they anticipate rapid visible improvements. The body's biological mechanisms do not operate according to immediate expectations. Instead, they follow a pattern of progressive adaptation, where noticeable outcomes emerge only after sufficient time has passed for internal structures to reorganize consistently. There are 3 major mistakes that can severely reduce the effectiveness of this approach. The first is choosing dessert gelatin while assuming it provides the same benefits. In reality, its formulation is intended primarily for enjoyment and flavor, rather than functional nutritional support. The second mistake is neglecting vitamin C. Doing so can significantly lower the efficiency of the reactions associated with collagen production. The third mistake is inconsistency. This occurs when the routine is abandoned before the body has been given adequate time to adjust. Several questions are commonly asked. Is unflavored gelatin the same as gelatin? Yes. It is essentially the same foundational product, although names may vary according to country or manufacturer. Can it be consumed daily? Yes. Daily use is actually what gives the process biological consistency and continuity. Can it be combined with coffee? Yes, provided that the gelatin has first been hydrated correctly. Now consider a 30-day plan designed to encourage gradual adaptation, rather than creating a sense of strain within the body. Throughout the first 2 weeks, the primary goal is not to observe outward changes. The objective is to establish the routine. Gelatin and vitamin C are taken every day without interruption. During weeks 3 and 4, the same foundation remains unchanged. At that point, additional nutritional support is introduced through protein-rich foods such as eggs, fish, or yogurt. Light walking is also added because movement contributes to connective tissue health by supporting circulation and helping nutrients reach the tissues more effectively. There are 3 errors that repeatedly undermine the process and often explain why some individuals fail to notice progress despite believing they are following the method correctly. The first error is again the use of dessert gelatin while expecting it to function like pure gelatin. The issue extends beyond ingredients alone. It is also a difference in purpose. One product is intended to provide sweetness, flavor, and immediate enjoyment. The other serves as a straightforward protein source within a structural nutritional strategy. When these 2 products are confused, the body receives a completely different nutritional signal than the one originally intended. The second error involves failing to include vitamin C. This nutrient plays a crucial role in the reactions associated with collagen development. Its importance is not optional. It functions as an essential participant within specific connective tissue processes. When vitamin C intake is insufficient, amino acids may still be available, but the body cannot optimize their use as effectively during structural synthesis. The system continues operating. However, it does so with reduced efficiency, much like a process that is incomplete or limited in its capacity. The third error is discontinuing the routine prematurely. This point is especially important because connective tissue biology responds to repeated patterns rather than isolated actions. Many people begin with strong determination. Then, when visible changes fail to appear immediately, they stop the process at the very moment when the most meaningful internal adaptations are beginning. In such situations, the method itself is not the problem. The interruption is. The 30-day plan is designed to avoid abrupt changes and instead guide the body through a gradual and sustainable adaptation process. The purpose is not to force quick results or dramatic transformations. The purpose is to create a stable foundation that the body can recognize, accept, and integrate into its normal daily functioning. During the first week, the goal is simply to establish the pattern. At this stage, the body has not yet adapted to the new stimulus. For that reason, strict daily repetition becomes the highest priority. The same routine is performed each day, gelatin together with vitamin C, no exceptions, no alterations, no pursuit of perfection, only unwavering consistency. During this opening phase, the body does not yet fully recognize the habit. However, it begins registering that the same stimulus appears repeatedly. This is the beginning of adaptation. The outcome is not the priority. The continuous biological signal is. By the second week, the routine starts feeling more natural and less forced. The body has already begun identifying the repetition as a stable part of daily life. Even so, this stage remains highly important. It is often the point where people become less disciplined, skip days, or alter the process. Therefore, the objective remains unchanged. Continue following exactly the same structure without introducing variations. The purpose is to strengthen consistency until the habit no longer requires conscious effort. At this point, stabilization begins occurring both behaviorally and physiologically. Across these first 2 weeks, one principle remains essential. The body responds not to isolated actions but to patterns repeated over time. Through continuous repetition, the body gradually interprets the stimulus as part of its normal environment and begins incorporating it into ongoing internal functions. Visible skin changes may still be absent. Nevertheless, the groundwork is already being established for the phases that follow. Weeks 3 and 4 continue with the identical foundational routine. Nothing changes regarding the core habit because stability allows deeper adaptation. What changes is the addition of broader nutritional support. Foods with high biological quality protein are incorporated, including eggs, fish, and natural yogurt. This adjustment is not random. It is intended to complement the amino acid profile required by different body tissues, especially those undergoing constant renewal. Combining multiple protein sources increases the availability of essential nutrients. As a result, support for structural functions throughout the body becomes more complete. By this stage, the body is no longer simply recognizing the habit. It is beginning to operate within a more balanced nutritional environment. Light walking and gentle physical activity are also introduced. The goal is not intense exercise. The goal is regular and natural movement. Movement matters because it directly affects connective tissue health. It supports circulation, helps transport nutrients throughout the body, and encourages improved oxygen delivery to cells. Together, these factors create a more favorable internal environment for the body's natural processes of maintenance, repair, and equilibrium. The key message is simple. Progress depends less on intensity and more on consistency. A stable routine, repeated day after day, provides the foundation upon which long-term structural support is built. If this information was useful, continue learning, stay consistent with healthy habits, and keep focusing on sustainable routines that can be maintained over time. Please leave your thoughts about this content in the comments below. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.